Welcome to Bread and Butter, the show looking behind the scenes of the hospitality business. I'm Wendy Hargraves, and Bread and Butter is brought to you by Aussie tech company Hungry Hungry. We've got a jam-packed half hour with 4 amazing guests today, including Australia's godfather of champagne, Tyson Seltzer. I always get my tongue twisted with that one. Who reckons he can show us how to drink fizz like a boss. Stay tuned for that. We'll also find out how technology will change the dining experience for both customers and businesses when hospo tech entrepreneur Mark Calabro joins me in the studio. But first, in case you hadn't noticed, it's only 16 sleeps until Christmas, which means it's open season on all the treats. To get us all in the mood, I'm talking to 2 of Australia's best pastry chefs, which is really exciting, right up my alley. And first up, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Australia's own Willy Wonka, the acclaimed pastry chef who strikes fear and awe into the hearts of every single MasterChef contestant. I'm talking about the one and only Darren Purchase. Welcome to Bread and Butter, Darren.
Morning, Wendy. Thank you so much for having me. What an intro.
Now, we're right in the thick of silly season now. So how's business going for you now at Birch & Purchase Sweet Studio?
Thankfully, we're really busy at the moment. We're making lots of sort of hampers and gift boxes and fulfilling orders and taking orders for Christmas Eve, really trying to make up for some of the lost time we've had this year. But exciting time. I love Christmas. So there's an optimism around.
I can just imagine you being one of those people who really gets into Christmas. Now, you've been trading at Birch & Purchase in South Yarra for 10 years with your amazing wife, Kath Claringbold, who some might argue is an even better chef than you are. Now, that is quite a feat, not just keeping a business going for 10 years, but also doing it with your spouse. So what is your secret to success there?
I guess we are the same people. It's definitely true that she is. I guess she's my secret weapon. She's the one that is behind all of the success that I have had personally. She's obviously an accomplished chef and restaurateur. She works tirelessly out the front. I guess we both know our own roles in the business. I'm part of the creative side. I'm in the kitchen. I'm coming up with new ideas. I'm also the face of the business, and Kath basically does all the very hard work. But we get on really well together. We're life partners. We've been together for a long time. So we're very fortunate that we get to spend so much time with each other and enjoy it. And I guess that's really important when you work in hospitality with the long hours. It's better than kind of not seeing your partner.
That's very true. And look, singing and dancing and all things wonderful in your business, and MasterChef star and half a dozen books or however many you've got. And then 2020 came along and all hell broke loose. So how did you cope when we first went into lockdown?
Yeah, well, as the same for everyone, it was quite traumatic, but in a kind of weird way, we were COVID ready before it started. And that sounds crazy, but we'd already streamlined our business, and we weren't making any crazy business decisions. We'd reduced some of our menu because we'd had substantial construction around our shop for about 4 years. So we were just kind of keeping ourselves fluid and not making any rash decisions. When COVID hit, we were already a takeaway restaurant. We'd already had an online presence. So we were in a fortunate situation to be able to trade through that first lockdown. I think the most drastic first decision we made was to reduce our hours to 5 days. So
that's got to be a good thing for chefs that are used to working long hours. Yeah. And you've also gone entirely online. So,
exactly.
That must give you quite a lot of independence and power as to how your business operates.
It's funny. It was a decision that we probably knew we needed to make, but we may not have had the courage to do it had something like COVID-19 hit this year. I can't be setting up a cake cabinet forever. For the last 10 years, I was in there doing it, and Kath was, serving customers. And for the longevity of our business, we had to make some decisions. We had to make some changes, but we were kind of on a hamster wheel, working 7 days, doing the same things. And when this hit, we were nimble, we moved quickly, and we made decisions that we are now going to keep moving forward. And one of the most drastic is no longer Birch & Purchase is going to be a walk-in retail experience. It's now going to be a virtual experience. So increasing our range to virtual events, cooking classes, and also increasing our product range. So yeah, drastic changes, which we're going to continue moving forward. And I think that that's going to be more productive for us and more fulfilling, and just better for our business moving forward.
It sounds like the creative juices are going strong as well now that you've got that little bit of extra headspace. Just last question to you. You're pretty famous for coming up with crazy stuff, turning run-of-the-mill into marvellous, like your Pavs and your Lamingtons, just to name a couple. So what's your next surprise project? Can you share?
I'm coming up with stuff all the time, and you are correct in saying that I do feel like I've got a little bit more headspace. You know, the changes we've made have inspired me and my team. We're really enjoying coming up with new stuff. So I guess I'm really excited about our bake at home range, which allows our customers to kind of buy components that we normally use in the shop, and they either finish them at home or bake them at home, and they're coming up with their own creations and posting them to social media, having a really great time. I've got a loaded Christmas brownie this year, which is so much fun. So I'm just really enjoying coming up with tools and components and skills and recipes to help other people cook at home, and I'm really enjoying seeing people's creations.
Oh, well, look, speaking of cooking at home, there are a whole heap of home bakers who think they could probably start a business in this game now. So what would you say to anyone who's thinking of starting a home business, who's doing, perhaps an amazing dish, an amazing cake, an amazing biscuit, and all their friends tell them they should go into business? What would you say to them?
I'm not going to be one of them ones to say, don't do it, it's too hard. I started making cakes in my home kitchen. I was working in restaurants. I couldn't quite see how I could get to my own business. So I started doing private jobs in my home kitchen, and I started a blog. Birch & Purchase was a blog at first. So it evolved from there. So follow your passion. Now's the time to make absolute drastic changes to your life. We've all had a traumatic experience this year. We all know life's too short, so just go with it. But do it with conviction and do things you love, because life's too short.
Oh, on that note, Darren, that was beautiful advice. So tell us, you've got a brand new website, hopefully launching for you today. Where can people find your amazing creations?
Today, thank you to all our customers for bearing with us. The last 12 weeks, we've been trying to build a better online user experience for everyone. So birchandpurchase.com. At some point today, will be launched. Kath's busy working on it right now, ironing out a few bugs with our developers, but really excited to have a bigger range, less waste, and more longevity for the future, and keep providing amazing cakes for our community.
Fantastic. Well, best of luck with the web launch and with your new online business. Thank you so much for your time, Darren Purchase.
Great to talk to you, Wendy. Thanks,
you
everyone.
Too. That was Darren Purchase, cake maestro and director at Birch & Purchase Street Studio in South Yarra. Now, staying with the cake theme, my next guest is not just a superb pastry chef. For people who can't eat gluten, dairy or nuts, he's a dead-set superhero. I'm talking about Liran Sidka, the chef behind Glazed Gluten Free. And he's in the studio with some pretty incredible looking goodies right now. Welcome, Liran.
Good morning, Wendy. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Oh my God. So you're telling me there's no gluten, no nuts and no dairy in any of these creations in front of me right now?
No, none of them have no gluten, no dairy and no nuts, and they're free from any contaminated food allergies, as we mentioned before.
So you must have mothers of small children who have all of the allergies coming to you and just bursting into tears.
Yes. We got pretty famous lately, and that's due to majority of people have one member, two members of the family at least have any of those allergies. It's not only the gluten, the nuts is quite famous, I would say, around among kids, and then dairy also have a good part of it. But yeah, the gluten definitely is the majority of people, and some of them for allergy reasons, some of them for health reasons want to stay away from the gluten.
So tell me though, you were a chef at a 3-hat restaurant doing amazing things at Vue de Monde and other restaurants. Like, you've got an incredible career leading up to this. What made you want to open a bakery in a suburban area in Elsternwick?
Like you said, it's been a while since I was starting as a pastry chef, since age of 20, and then since then just traveling around, also including like places like New York, and came here to Australia, which I mastered my degree in patisserie as well. And along the way, I did a lot of business consulting to businesses, and you find that it's a bit lack the gluten. Every place you go, you get only 5-10% options for you, which is sometimes not fair when you come with the whole family. So we created place that to make a feeling for the whole family to enjoy without the guilt. And so we found that the market needed for good bread that we make in our place, for good desserts, that everything is homemade. And yeah, we're quite proud of what we do. And
that's great.
It's also,
you're a very new business too, aren't you? When did you open?
Yeah, so we opened up 6th of February this year.
Right before lockdown.
Right before lockdown, which you can look both ways, if it's for good or for bad. But I believe that it's all meant to be, and we decided to actually shine in that time, in that period, to show that we are there, which is involving deliveries to the people at home and are reaching to places like at least 1 hour away from our business. And that's what's give us a good credit now when people are back to see us in our shop. So it's very...
Do you think that was the secret, maybe for a lot of businesses, for those who over-serviced and just went beyond normal service by hand delivering cakes and being there for people, that they're the people that are now, they're the businesses that are now flying because there's a bit of loyalty there? That's
exactly right. You need to be there. You need to be there in a dark room. Even a little candle can shine. So
yeah,
that's what we believe in. We try to do our best. We really try to do our best to get there to wherever, to say yes to any cake, to make people happy, make kids happy that couldn't do any birthdays.
Is it a bit like a science experiment trying to get cakes like this happening without gluten and dairy, which just feels impossible?
Every day for us is it's a new science creation, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's at least 5 or 6 times to test and get to perfection before we release a new product. And we ask customers as well when they come to the shop, try, give us your comments, because we want to see what they think. And then once we know it's pretty much perfect, we launch in it.
So what's the key? How do you get the stability? How do you get the flavor, the texture? Like what's your secret ingredient to do that?
Like I said, it's a lot of practice and a lot of being innovative. That's the word, being innovative. That's what we are. We believe that any creation can look pretty much like something that you feel like. So we believe in the look of the product, but we highly believe, first of all, in a flavor, which is more important thing, and we got good comments so far about it.
But you do eat with your eyes, don't you? And like they're quite extraordinary sculptures, really, aren't they? Like they're quite beautiful. So you must have a beautiful cake display.
Yes, we do have a good cake. I think so, I believe. Try to stay modest, but yeah, we have a good cake display, especially our signature dessert, which is crème brûlée, which I bring for my childhood treat, which is like a half meringue, half marshmallow pipe on a homemade biscuit and then coated with chocolate, and comes with a variety of flavor. So it's always surprising. It's like those chocolate bonbons that you used to eat and you don't know what's inside. That's exactly the feeling. That's, if you're going to blow calories on a sweet treat, you want to be surprised. And I know that everyone in the studio here at Tikka cannot wait to apply their faces to this plate right now. I'm telling you that right now. So where do people find you? Tell us where people can find you. Yeah, so we are located in Elsternwick suburb in a street called Carl Street, shop number 2. They can reach us through Facebook, Instagram, and our online shop, which is, we're going to launch, we have a website at the moment running, but we're going to launch a new one coming soon. And it's worth to join us either on social media, because we're having a good surprise coming soon in the new year, which is going to be probably in-house high tea. Oh, high tea. Yes. Well, we'll have to get you back in to talk about that. We're going to be the pretty much the only place that it's fully on gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free high tea. Oh, that's big news. There'll be people jumping for joy all over the place. That's what we hope so.
Well, thank you so much for coming into the
Thank you
studio
for
and for
having
bringing
me.
this beautiful platter. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
That was Liran Sidka, who has a cult following now for his cakes and treats at Glazed Gluten Free in Elstonwick. Sticking with the festive theme, it's time to crack some bubbles with an Aussie bloke who's known as the godfather of champagne. It's a tough job teaching the world how to drink fizz, but clearly somebody has to do it. Welcome to Bread and Butter, Tyson Stelzer. It's so good to see you.
Hello,
How
Wendy.
are you? Hello.
I'm
Now,
great, thank you.
I've got
Godfather's a new one, but going from sweet treats to champagne. It's a happy morning on Hungry Hungry.
Exactly. Now we've got some props here because I'm told that I've been all along opening my champagne the wrong way.
Ah, there are tricks to opening champagne. You can make the most of the bubbles by doing it sensitively and carefully, as opposed to an ostentatious pop that launches the cork into orbit, which has its place in certain beverages, but not in my book, with champagne, where you want to enjoy every bit of the experience and not just the grand opening ceremony.
That's very true. Now, you seem to have won every single award under the sun when it comes to talking about plonk, specifically champagne. You've also written a heap of books on the subject. So tell me, how does a boy from Brisbane become the godfather of champagne?
We love champagne in Australia, and while Queensland, of course, doesn't grow great sparkling by any stretch, we love enjoying it, and our climate's perfect. And Melbourne is very much a capital of champagne too, where you are right there. I've spent many years, and you can see some beautiful vision there, visiting the wonderful vineyards of France. And of course, champagne comes from that very cool region northeast of Paris, and falling in love with a style of wine that has centuries of history, beautiful families, wonderful cellars, and incredible wines that are not paralleled anywhere in the world. What a privilege to be able to champion the great sparkling wines of Champagne.
Now, I have to admit, I am a fan of French fizz. I love my Australian sparkling as well, but I never seem to get a hangover if I stick to good quality champagne. Why do you think that is?
It's because when high quality wine is made, we don't need to include so many preservatives, additives, shortcuts, etc. Champagne is by its nature lower in alcohol than, for instance, warm climate Australian red wines, so there's an alcohol effect there too. And I think we treat it with a bit more respect. You're not likely to pop a bottle of champagne and down the whole thing in 10 minutes. So I think because we drink it as we make it, sensitively and responsibly, you're not likely to get a hangover. And the same is absolutely true of the great sparkling wines of cool regions of Australia, Tasmania, of which is, of course, the exemplar.
Now, if we were really serious about this opening of a champagne glass, we would have a big sword to chop the top off this bottle, right?
Sabrage is part of historical ceremony in Champagne. Personally, I don't do it. And the reason is quite clear. If you Google champagne sabrage, and you will see all sorts of comical disasters of people who are very good at this art, but who have massive bottles exploding in their arms and dousing themselves and their friends and glass and cuts. And it's just a disaster. Even if it's done well, it can still gush out of the bottle, and avoiding that gush preserves the bubbles for you to enjoy in the glass. So for that reason, I don't sabrage, although I have friends who do. But what I prefer to suggest to people is show the wine exactly the respect that it's received right through its production process, and open it in a way that is sensitive and careful on the fact that this bottle holds six atmospheres of pressure, which is more than a car tires. So it can be dangerous.
Now, I have to tell you though, I've got this lovely bottle here, a beautiful bottle of French. I believe they're friends of yours, the Lanson family. Now, tell me though.
I have many friends in France, and Lanson is, of course, one of those, a great house in Reims.
Here I am being the ultimate Aussie and saying Lanson instead of Lanson. Forgive me. Also though, how it's cold, it's ready to go. How am I supposed to pop this?
Yeah,
is there
so
a trick?
Goal is to get the goal is to pop it without popping it, effectively. So once you've got the foil off, as you have, hold your hand around the top, keep your thumb over the top of the cork, and then twist the bottle slowly. And as you feel the cork releasing, just before it comes out, twist it to the side to allow the pressure to release in a hiss rather than a pop. You need quite a bit of pressure with your finger to do that, of course, after you've got the cage off. So to remove the cage first, 6 turns of the wire, take it off altogether if you like, leave it on if you want, and then twist it slowly and try to get that hiss at the end.
All right, here we go. I'm doing it. Hey, beautiful.
Yeah,
now,
well
what about the pouring
That's
part?
before.
Is there
Have you
a
been
trick?
practicing, Wendy?
Possibly.
Yeah, very good. Pouring champagne has the same principle to opening the bottle, and that is you want to do it without having a massive gush. The more bubbles froth up and over the glass, the less bubbles remain in the wine. So to pour it, I suggest pouring half a glass for each guest and then topping up with another half once the bubbles have subsided. You don't have to tilt the glass like they do with beer. Some chef de carbs, the makers in champagne, don't do that. Some do. I always like to do it because I find that there's less impact on the wine if it's gliding gently inside of the glass than straight down into the middle.
I like the idea of being on a tilt as well. So I'll give that a go and see whether it. Oh, look at that! It's not going all the way over the top. Delicately. How's
Beautiful.
that?
Look at that.
Did I pass?
That's an exemplar.
Excellent.
And for the sake of our audience, we haven't filmed this 10 times to get it right. This is first take. We are live. Wendy,
I know.
well done. Bravo.
Live TV. You've got to love it. You've got to love it. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'll be calling on you for your champagne tips. Have you got a favourite Australian sparkling you'd like to turn to this year?
Absolutely. A tiny little estate, brand new, super premium in Tasmania called Bellibon. Beautiful and good, made by the wonderful Natalie Fryer. She makes just a few thousand bottles. It is one of the most beautiful sparkling wines out of Champagne right now. It's uber rare. You need to get to Bellibon, the website, to order it because she only sells it direct. But it's a wonderful way to support a little family Australian producer in this difficult year.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, and may you have many beautiful champagne experiences this silly season. Thank you, Tyson.
Same to you, Wendy. I look forward to one of them with a glass with you in person at some time when we can travel again. God bless.
Me too. Thank you. That was Tyson Stelzer, the godfather of champagne. And let's drink to all that. Now, in the studio, I need a drum roll for our next guest, as this show wouldn't be possible without his support. I launched Bread and Butter in the middle of lockdown to give the hospitality industry a voice. And it's been my privilege to do just that with the backing of a company that goes above and beyond for the hospo industry every single day. I'm talking about Hungry Hungry, and it's my pleasure to welcome the company's co-founder, Mark Calabro, to the studio. Welcome to the studio. Now, I haven't had a sip of this, so here you go. Oh. Welcome, Champagne Breakfast.
Thank you. Great to be here, Wendy, and I'd be lying to, if I said I wouldn't dive into a bottle of champagne right now.
Well, the show's nearly cooked, so
yes.
let's see how we go after that.
Indeed.
So thank you for coming into the studio. I've been intrigued and amazed at how hospo is it basically embraced everything tech. They've had to a large degree. So it's probably been the biggest year you could possibly be in hospitality tech.
100%, and it's kind of been somewhat forced upon us, perhaps in a way, with the advent of QR codes, which we know have been around for a long time. It was only a year ago that we were explaining what QR codes were, but the rise of them now over this year has just been phenomenal.
Yeah, well, it has. But at the same time, it's not just QR code. It's being able to order online, pay online, see menus online, and show preferences online. So do you think that that sort of data is the sort of information that can really help in the hospitality business, like knowing what customers really want?
100%. And we've seen it in other industries for many years now, where they've been using that data and information to be able to tailor experiences and products to consumers. And you know, a big thing about being in business is knowing your customer. Yep. So what we do is we're really passionate about giving that power and that ownership back over to hospitality operators.
So let's wind back a little bit. So what exactly does Hungry Hungry do for hospitality?
Great. Well, in its most simple format, we look after the guest registry. So there'll be a lovely little QR code on the table, all branded as the actual venue as well. So under that QR code, we can register ourselves as guests, which we know is very important. And then it opens up a digital menu. And from that, we can actually take over the ordering process. That's in its current state, but what we've got in 2021 and beyond is much more exciting again.
Oh, come on, spill.
Okay. Okay, so a couple of little things, and these are things that we've been talking about for a long time, which we're very passionate about, and that is tailoring personal experiences behind the technology. So things like curated menus, so that, you know, for most people when they go into a cafe, restaurant or bar, we generally order the same things. So if we can produce 5 or 6 items that we think that you're going to love, well, that's better than showing 20 or 30 items and saving people the time to have to scroll through the menu and do things like that. And equally for drinks. Some people love champagne. I love champagne. Not so much on the scotches. So if I'm going to see a bit of a wine list, I'm probably going to go more for the gin, champagne, or a Negroni, especially at this time of the year.
So in the same way that Facebook understands your algorithm and shows up things that you're interested in, we could see a time where menus actually bat up food and drink that you want.
Absolutely, and it's all under the umbrella of making it for a better experience and really giving hospitality owners those controls as well. So rather than taking that away from them, we want to empower them with features and functionality that really bolster our platform and make it a really valuable technology piece in the restaurant.
Well, we've just heard from Liran about the value of being gluten, nut and dairy free and how that's going off like a frog in a sock. You've always got someone with an allergy of some or an intolerance of some description at every table. Could this be the answer to that? Like that, you know, press the button. I'm intolerant to barley.
Yep.
All of a sudden, all the ingredients are known, so they see everything that they're allowed to eat.
Especially in, I know from experience this week where I booked a dinner for 12 people at Supernormal it was. And, you know, in the lead up, there's a lot of back and forth emails, dietary requirements. So we're starting to see chatbots come into this space a bit more now. They've been around for some years, but they're getting really clever and intuitive now. So a lot of that Q&A, frequently asked questions, can be done now by a bot. And again, it's really about getting more information to people, and dietary requirements we know is a big one. So how that might live is we're going out for lunch, there's 6 of us, 5 of us are pescatarians. Can you suggest the menu that my friends will like, and I'll share it with them before we arrive.
And the chatbot will do that before they've even arrived.
And you'll think it's a human that you're speaking to.
And then the humans that are at the restaurant have more time and energy to actually be of good service.
100%.
Yeah.
And we've seen that already, like taking away from those little admin tasks. So staff can actually engage in more high value conversations with guests rather than going around and, you know, just taking the orders and punching them into the POS.
Well, it's exciting times, and there have been so many silver linings out of COVID, including having a business relationship with you. So thank you so much for everything you've done.
How good is it to see venues back open and
It's
the sun
fantastic.
shining outside? It's wonderful.
An amazing thing. So thanks again. We'll have a quick go. We've got some beautiful cakes to try and some champagne to have after the show. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Now, it's been a great show, and it's been my privilege to have Mark Calabro, the co-founder of Hungry Hungry, here in the studio with me. You've been watching Bread and Butter, broadcast live from Ticker's Richmond studios, thanks to our partner, Hungry Hungry. I'm Wendy Hargraves, and I'll be back next week with more news from behind the scenes of the hospitality business. Until then, stay safe and eat well.
Stream us live on the Ticker app, Apple TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and tickertv.com.au. Ticker, streaming news now.